Oh, he's still up? Okay, now he's up. Hey friends, we're doing it live right now, telling you how to one-phase the final boss of the Sundered Doctrine. The plan hinges on having a Divinity, using Queenbreakers with the Catalyst, and this isn't any groundbreaking stuff. It's just what works. I'm sure a PvE player will make a better guide with a far easier strategy, but this is getting it done. So with Queenbreakers, we have an Arc Titan with the Rally Barricade and the Storm's Keep aspect, which gives us Bolt Charge, and that even works for the Divinity player. The Divinity player is either going to be playing Dawnblade Well of Radiance, with probably Hellion for extra damage, a big healing grenade for survivability, and you're probably going to be running a machine gun or something. Always have triple surge, and one arc reserves at least for div. The exact amount of ammo used does matter. You can either do a well lock with div and Cenotaph so you don't have to reload with 2 Titans, or for whatever reason you don't have an extra Titan on your friends list, you can do what I'm doing right now, which is playing Prismatic with Needle Storm for when I run out of Divinity, but also Facet of Courage so that when the boss is hit by stasis or something, my Hellion hits him harder. Then I'm using a Tonic of Renewing Finishers because it increases damage to combatants affected by stasis debuff. And to keep that on him, I'm throwing a stasis turret. And then I'm also popping Transcendence with the Weaken Stasis Nade or whatever. I know Div already applies Weaken or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Point is, I'm just stacking it all there for redundancy's sake. So then this brings us to what Stump is running, which is just extra damage on a Warlock. He's got a Sanguine swap. Can you show that off real quick? So Sanguine Alchemy with the Empowering Rift on an Arc Super. It's 4 times Surge. So he hits just a little bit harder. The thing about Thunder Crash is this boss sometimes stomps and suspends you. So it is a little risky. If you're going to T-Crash, I recommend saving it for the very, very end of the phase. This is the spot where we're doing damage. Shout out to Low for showing me this spot. This is your cover. It's kind of like the Warding of Nothing strike. When damage starts, the whole room lights on fire. What I typically do is I throw a turret somewhere in this direction near the boss so it just continually sprays the boss. Then I activate Hellion, and then I just div until my teammates kill it with Queenbreaker. Very, very simple strategy. And it works most of the time, but sometimes the boss has some really messed up movement and the div breaks. So that's when you just probably T-Crash or throw your super. And then once the boss gets back to a good spot again, put the div on, business as usual. We've had a couple dirty clears like that, and most of the time we do one phase now. So it's obviously working. Past that, I put Facet of Solitude on, and then this is what my artifact looks like. The teammates are definitely on Particle Reconstruction, but since I'm not using a linear, I don't have to be on it. I hope that makes sense, and let me know in the comment section if you find an easier strategy like Lord of Wolves with a Lunafaction Rift or something. This is just what I'm doing, what works, and what I can recommend to my own friends to farm this boss more efficiently. So by the way, if it wasn't immediately evident, this is not going to be a guide on this encounter. If you want that, just look up Fallout's guide. However, I want to mention that the fact that this dial has something to do with the lore is pretty cool. Now, I'm not that guy. I don't know exactly what to do with that information, but I know how to complete this encounter. So the idea is you read it from this group of 3 or this group of 3. This one says, Pyramid, stop, Sabathun. Is that a truth? I don't know. I play with no voices, no subtitles, no audio, no nothing. I just shoot things in PvP. Get the loot, get out, ask for crafting, get mad when it's not in the game. I'm pretty simple. Since I'm making this video before the weekly reset, the API in Destiny hasn't updated, so you can't go to D2 Foundry and look up rolls. But what drops at this boss in the kinetic slot is a Trace Rifle, which has Shoot to Loot and Detonator Beam, which I think is the unique combo. You can also get Rewind Rounds. I'm sure someone has a video on what this perk does, but that's the unique combo, so that's what I'm going to recommend. It's probably not much of a PvP weapon, but somebody make a video and prove me wrong. My teammates have the hand cannon equipped, which is a heavy burst frame, which I imagine will be very useful with Lucky Pants in a PvE environment. This subjugation origin trait seems extremely powerful and basically like a 5th perk, so that makes a lot of sense. For PvP, you can probably get a bunch of 2-burst Radiant combos using the harmonic perk or whatever in this column. I'm sure you can come up with something interesting. I don't personally like that frame that much in PvP, so it's not going to be for me. Now, for PvP players, you have 2 best-in slots, potentially. The Scout Rifle has Precision Instrument, which can tip it to a 0.7 time to kill on certain resiliences. And keep in mind that Elsie's rifle was hitting 0.67 from like 35 meters, and we thought that was absurd. This Scout Rifle hits a 0.7 from nearly double the distance. So this Scout is a best-in slot and probably worth farming, especially for a Bakris main, which should make it consistent on all resiliences. For Void Hunters, I'm sure y'all haven't seen those before, the shotgun is a slug, it's Void, and I believe it has Lone Wolf, and correct me if I'm wrong, closing time?
Correct.
Okay. And the best part about the slug, compared to Nessa's Oblation, is look at the sight. The sight is so clean. I'm gonna grab Nessa's out of the vault, because that's the other Void slug in the game. Nessa's is probably a best in slot stat-wise, but this might have power crafted. Even if Nessa was better though, once again, look at the sight. Nah, we don't want that. The horns on the side, man, I'm telling you, Hunter's gonna slide up and you're gonna get domed first. Every time. I think that wraps up the loot though. Back to mid, free damage. Make sure you shoot that door, Northern.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Alright, gonna collect some orbs, then I'm ready. Okay, ready. Starting. Div's about to break. Still had some gas in the tank. Ooh, what is tear? Oh, shoot to loot detonator beam. Man, I got options now. I might even prefer that, because I probably would always run it with Cenotaph.
I would always want shoot to loot because
I'm shoot to loot pilled, man. Everyone was complaining about that fake ammo modifier. I'm like, what fake ammo? I shoot all of it anyway. Well, that's how you one phase.